Okay, let's bring in James Dorsey. He's in Singapore. He's a Middle East analyst and an adjunct senior fellow at the S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies. Great to have you on once again, James. Now, Israel launched its initial strikes, it said, at nuclear facilities in Iran. Why would it launch them now? What's the timing significance here?
Well, I think there's several factors here. One is that it saw an opportunity in Washington, given that the Americans clearly were not going to veto the act this time round. In other words, they may have, in the conversations that Trump had with Prime Minister Netanyahu over the past week, Trump may have said, don't do this, but he didn't attach any consequences to that. And Netanyahu may well have seen that as a green light. In addition to that, Israel does not want a negotiated resolution of the nuclear program. It wants destruction of the nuclear program. And so that's a second goal. The third goal, I think, was this came on the eve of a conference organized by France and Saudi Arabia under the auspices of the United Nations to revive the thinking and the push for a two-state solution of the Palestinian conflict, something Netanyahu certainly does not want.
Does Israel have a free hand here to attack Iran? Because if you listen to many global leaders, they've said that Iran should not be allowed to have nuclear weapons. There's very little condemnation coming from a lot of international leaders about this. Is there going to be much pressure for Israel to back down in escalating the conflict?
Look, I think there's a universal agreement that Iran should not have nuclear weapons. And Iran has itself said it does not want nuclear weapons. I think you've got to keep in mind how Iran got to 60% enrichment. It got there by, first of all, Trump withdrawing from the 2015 international agreement, Iran then abiding by that agreement for a year, and then gradually abandoning the agreement, including increasing enrichment. And it was doing so to increase leverage on the United States to return to the 2015 agreement. It's, as far as I'm concerned, a political spin to assert that this was primarily designed to develop a nuclear weapon. Now, in the current circumstances, Iran may change its perspective and may go for a nuclear weapon. We don't know that.
Is this a fight that Iran can win?
I don't think it's a fight that Iran can win, but I think what's very important, coming back to what your correspondents in Jerusalem and Tehran said, it was very important for Iran to show and demonstrate, as it has, probably to the Israeli surprise, that it has the cohesion and the resilience to respond after the kind of attack that we saw on Friday, the 13th of June, when the parts of the military command were taken out, when major strikes at ballistic missiles, nuclear facilities, and other facilities in Iran were successfully achieved. And so Iran has shown that it is capable. It has shown that it has the resilience and the ability and cohesion to respond. That doesn't mean that Iran can win. Keep in mind, Iran does not have an air force of any renown. It does not have a navy for all practical purposes. The backbone of its defense strategy are ballistic missiles, and it has one of the largest ballistic missile, if not the largest ballistic missile arsenal in the Middle East. And it has, of course, asymmetric warfare.
James, appreciate your input. James Dorsey, Middle East analyst, my guest.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.